There's something powerful about this very moment, this second, right here, right now. Yet too many people let the present slip away, waiting for some magical moment when things will feel just right. But let me tell you something. That moment may never come. We say things like, I'll start when I'm ready, or I'll go after my dreams when I have more time, more money, more confidence. But the truth is, life doesn't wait for you to feel prepared. Opportunity doesn't knock when you're perfectly organized and mentally ready. It shows up unannounced in the middle of your doubts and your chaos, and if you keep waiting for the perfect conditions, you'll watch those opportunities pass you by again and again. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who waited until they had it all figured out. They're the ones who started when they didn't have all the answers. They started with uncertainty. They started with fear. They started when they felt like they weren't ready. And because they started, they grew. The problem is we often convince ourselves that waiting is smart, that delaying is a form of preparation. We tell ourselves, I'm not procrastinating, I'm just being strategic. But more often than not, that's fear disguised as wisdom. You don't need all the answers to take action. You don't need a perfect plan to make progress. What you need is the courage to begin right now with what you have, where you are. Because here's the reality, time doesn't stop. While you're overthinking, while you're second guessing, while you're waiting for the right time, life keeps moving. And every moment you wait is a moment you can't get back. You won't always feel confident when you step outside your comfort zone. In fact, you may feel nervous, awkward, or even scared. But those feelings don't mean you're failing. They mean you're doing something that matters. The magic happens when you stay in that uncomfortable space long enough for it to feel normal. What once seemed impossible starts to feel manageable. The things that used to scare you become part of who you are. So challenge yourself. Say yes to the opportunity that makes you nervous. Take on the project that feels just a little out of reach. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Because that uncomfortable space, that's where growth happens. The life you want, the goals you've set, the dreams you've been chasing, they aren't waiting for you in the comfort zone. They're waiting for you just beyond it. And the only way to reach them is to step out. Perfection is something we all chase at some point. We tell ourselves, I can't start yet, it's not perfect, or I need to learn more before I begin, or I'll go for it once everything lines up perfectly. But here's the hard truth. Perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target you'll never hit. No matter how much you prepare, plan, or practice, you'll never feel 100% ready. And that's exactly why so many people never start. They wait, they hesitate, they convince themselves that holding back is being responsible or playing it smart. But in reality, that delay isn't about preparation. It's about fear. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of not measuring up. And that fear tricks you into believing that if you just wait a little longer, you'll suddenly feel ready. But you won't, because readiness doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. Start where you are, use what you have, take the step you can take today, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, because imperfect action will always be perfect inaction. And when you move with purpose, when you focus on what drives you rather than what scares you, something powerful happens. You realize that you don't need to have it all figured out. You'll discover that confidence isn't something you start with. It's something you build by showing up, learning, and improving along the way. So stop asking, is this perfect? And start asking, is this meaningful? Stop wondering, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I succeed? Because when you move with purpose, when you choose progress over perfection, you don't just move forward, you win. Fear, it's something we all face. No matter how strong, talented, or confident you are, fear will show up. It's that voice in your head that whispers, what if I fail? Or, what if I'm not good enough? Or, What if this goes wrong? But here's what you need to understand. Fear is not your enemy. It's energy. And like any form of energy, you can either let it control you or you can learn to control it. Think about it. If you weren't chasing something important, you wouldn't feel fear at all. Fear doesn't show up when you're playing small or staying comfortable. It shows up when you're stepping into something bigger than you've ever done before. That's why you can't let fear paralyze you. You have to let it push you. Imagine fire, powerful, dangerous, and unpredictable. Left uncontrolled, fire can destroy everything in its path. But when harnessed, that same fire can light your home, cook your food, and power entire cities. Fear is just like that. If you let it run wild, it will burn through your confidence and leave you feeling powerless. But when you channel it, when you take that nervous energy and turn it into drive, fear becomes fuel. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what if this works? Instead of saying, I'm too scared to try, say, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. Because when you step into your fear, when you face it head on, you take away its power. Think back to a time when you felt afraid but pushed through anyway. Maybe it was speaking in public, starting a new job, or taking a risk you weren't sure you could handle. At first, your heart raced, your hands shook, and your mind was full of doubts. But once you took that first step, what happened? The fear started to fade. The more you moved forward, the smaller that fear became. That's because fear thrives in inaction. It grows stronger when you stand still. But the moment you take action, even if it's a small step, you weaken its grip. Not one big breakthrough, but a series of small, deliberate steps stacked on top of each other. It's about doing the right things every single day, even when you don't feel like it. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is what separates people who dream from people who achieve. Motivation feels good, but it's unreliable. Some days you wake up energized, excited, and ready to tackle your goals. But what about the days you don't? What about the mornings you're tired, stressed, or just not in the mood? That's when discipline steps in. The ability to show up and do the work even when you don't feel like it. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about choosing progress over excuses. It's about waking up and saying, I may not be at 100% today, but I'm still going to give my best. See, success doesn't come from occasional bursts of effort. It comes from the things you commit to daily. Those small wins, the ones that seem too small to matter. They are actually the foundation of greatness. It's the writer who commits to writing 500 words a day, even when they have no inspiration. It's the athlete who puts in extra reps at the gym when no one's watching. It's the entrepreneur who grinds late at night, even when no one's clapping for them yet. On their own, those efforts might not seem like much, but stack them up day after day, and they build unstoppable momentum. Discipline turns your goals into habits, and habits shape your future. Think of it like building a wall. Each action, each small win is a brick. Alone, one brick doesn't look like much, but when you lay a brick every day, carefully, consistently, eventually you build something solid, something powerful, something that lasts.